Hi guys, this is Hyunmin Max, aka Max. Welcome back to another video on the channel. So we have your League Centurions promo cards. We will also possibly see evolutions later on at content drop. I'm also gonna talk about RTTK as well as the market itself. Let's go and take a look at, I would say, the bigger SBC that we have gotten yesterday, your 84 double upgrade. 84 overall rated squad with minimum 185 rated. Now this actually cause your 84s and 85s to have a bit of a movement. One thing to note is the fact that this SBC can be done 2 times and it will refresh for the next 2 days at content drop. So this SBC costs about 22k gamble, if you do get 2 84s, it's basically a 18k gamble. I don't think that is actually too shabby a SBC to complete. So these are the top 10 cards that you can pack, the 10 most expensive cards. So of course you probably want to get the likes of Van Dijk, Vini, Rafael Leao. Even though I have to say the pack weight for the Trailblazers current team it's actually pretty bad, so it's actually really hard to pack them. Now we also gotten, as expected, a league owned goalkeeper player of the month SBC Bolka. Let me actually go and find him. He's actually a 85 rated overall. Quite cheap. 83 overall rated squad with 185. Comes up to about 15k itself. The thing about this guy is he is absolutely massive in game, and of course he does also link Dante. This caused Dante to rise ever so slightly. Now let's move on and talk about the main topic, which is the leaked Centurions card. Now I think it all depends on whether we get a junior or a senior version of these cards. So for somebody like Eusebio currently we already have his 91 overall rated. It actually costs about 3 million right now. So the question is will we be getting a low rated junior version, or will we be getting the prime version or the senior version of this icon? My guess is for Eusebio, we're probably gonna get maybe a 89 rated, cost about 1 mil, 1.5 mil. That will be my guess. We have another guy, Pedri. I don't think Pedri is that great in game, to be honest. However, he's really hyped IRL. And then we have Ashley Cole. So Ashley Cole, currently he has a 86 version, costs about 300k right now. My guess is he's probably gonna get possibly a higher rated version, because I don't think EA will release an 85 rated icon. Doesn't really make much sense. So the next player that we have is actually Tomori. Great Milan links. We have Theo Hernandez. We have Big Mike. We also have Giroud. We also have Kululu. Those are actually really great links. And Tomori, it's actually a very good center back in game. Of course, his gold version has already risen up because people have already started investing in him. Now, Rooney, is another one that is scheduled to be released. His current version of 88, actually costs about 760k. If we were to get a junior Rooney, maybe a 86 rated, and he costs 150 to 200k, he would definitely crash the prices of a lot of strikers in this game itself. We actually saw this happen in FIFA 23. If we actually take a look at FIFA 23, we have little bro Lam, we have the senior Lam, 93 Lam as well. Let's take a look at how cheap these cards were. They were released on the 7th of April. He was 197k on a Friday, went down to 145k on a Saturday, and then 110k on a Monday. By Wednesday, he actually only cost 93k, which is absolutely crazy price for a card that has this kind of stats. I know this was actually later on in the game in April, and this card was actually only 3-3. But the thing with this card is the fact that if you guys watch me during FIFA 23, you would know that I actually swapped him in game as a CDM. He's actually a really good CDM. Take a look at the pace. 88 pace with 88 dribbling and 88 passing, and he has absolutely top tier defending stats. And he only costs 93k. When you have such a good card at such a cheap price, it's gonna correct a lot of the prices on the market itself. So like I mentioned, even though Lam is a right back, people do swap him in game to a CDM. And if you take a look at somebody like Enzo Fernandez, who is a central midfielder, he got affected a lot in terms of his price. The Trophy Titans, right, was released on 7th of April. So Enzo, right, was 1 mil on 7th of April, right? He dropped down to 900k on a Saturday before basically dropping down, right, for the rest of the week. And by Wednesday, right, he was actually at about 830k. So that's like a 200k drop because he was actually 1 mil and 20k, right, on Friday itself. So I expect to see this kind of movement, right, for in terms of the cards that we will be getting, right? So take for example, right, if we do get a baby Hullet and he costs about, let's say, 300k, 400k, right, he's gonna correct a lot of your central midfielders prices, right? That is something to actually watch out for. Even though I think it's very unlikely that we'll get a Hullet that is that cheap, but I'm just using him as an example. EA confirmed as much, right? This was actually from their pitch notes, right, for Ultimate Team. So basically, they're saying that this year only included one version of icons, right? Typically, we have 3. The mid, the prime, as well as the baby, right? Those 3 versions. But this year, we only have 1 because they're saying that they want to build content, right, for every type of football fan, aka people who don't spend FC points or people who don't have that much coins. That's the reason why, right, they will be including senior and junior, right, icons in the game itself. So this is a confirmation. And then we also have Thiago Silva as one of the other leaked players as well. Sir Bobby Charlton, who unfortunately, right, just passed away recently. I always see him, right, attending all the United games, and he was actually, right, looking really healthy. But at least he lived to a really good age. He actually passed away at age 86, right? God bless his soul. Now, we also have Lacazette as well, who I also feel that, you know, he's actually a little bit too clunky in game. He's dribbling, even though this year, right, I would say a lot of players that used to be clunky, right, feel a little bit more smooth, possibly because of, you know, the change in the game itself. So, Centurions, right, used to be a promo, right, for players who had 100 appearances for their clubs, right, 100 goals, etc., etc. But I would say that, you know, nowadays, right, they seem to be giving it to anybody and everybody. Mendy is somebody that is also gonna be coming as a Centurion, but, you know, quite frankly, right, I haven't even seen anybody, right, pack his gold version. This one, right, would be really great for fluctuation trading based on the fact that his gold version is so hard to pack. So this one should be also really, really rare. We have Jarzinho also, whose SBC, right, in FIFA 23, right, still gives me nightmares. I basically face that card, right, in every single game. We also have Zico as well. I think he's also going to be really, really expensive. At the end of the day, right, all this, right, just depends on the pack weight itself, right, and the kind of upgrades, right, that these players get. And just before I made this video, right, Gyaro just got leaked as well. She's also going to be coming as a promo player on Centurions. I've actually tried her base gold version out, and she's actually pretty good. French links as well, which is fantastic. Rashi, who is actually one of the first few to get leaked. Again, his gold version, right, has already went up significantly. So if you guys are thinking about investing in him, right, you're probably a little bit too late to the party. We actually gonna get 2 big SBCs as well, right, in the form of Martin Odegaard. So definitely a lot of Arsenal hype because they're playing so well IRL. So look out for your special Arsenal cards like your Saka. If it's fairly priced, right, those cards will go up quite a significant amount. And Murdoch, possibly because, you know, he was actually a 100 mil transfer. I guess that's the only reason, right, he will be getting in. So we do have another prediction, right? This is by Footbin. This is a prediction, not a leak. All those that I've showed you previously, right, are the cards that are actually going to be coming out. So we have the notable ones, right, is El Sharani and James Milner. We are hoping that James Milner can actually help our Mitoma Trailblazer, right, to actually rise in price. So if people like Foot Sheriff, right, actually confirms Milner as one of the players, right, that will be getting a Centurions, right, our Mitomas, right, could possibly rise. Let's move back over here, right, and talk about, you know, what we should be investing in. So I think, right, for today, right, I think the best stuff, right, for us to actually invest in, right, is actually your 85s, right? So right now, they're actually going for about 7.3k. Yesterday, before content drop, right, I believe they were actually at about 6k itself. So you can actually, right, pick up your 85s, right, at about 7k on bid. I would say that that's a really good price, right, to be getting them at. Of course, right, we will be listing them up right before content drop later on. Now, your PC players, right, I wouldn't invest in your 85s because right now on PC, right, they are actually at 9k. And as you guys can see, right, the max price range for your 85s are 10k. So there's not too much room, right, for them to go up. It's just 1,000 coins. So I would say, right, for your PC players, right, you can actually try to pick up your 84s instead, who is right now, right, going for about 2,000 coins. They were actually at about 1.5k, right, before content dropped yesterday. So try to get them at between 1.7, 1.8k on bid. I think that is actually a really good play there. So you should definitely, right, be listing your 84s and your 85s, right, before content drop later on, because as you guys know, Wednesdays are 50k pack store pack days, right? So we should be seeing that later on as well. Now, I actually want to talk about one of the most surprising SBC, right, that we have gotten, right, on Monday itself. It's actually, right, if the menus will actually load, the UEFA marquee matchups. And the funny thing was, this time, right, it was actually dropped on a Monday. Now, I believe, right, this is the first time ever, right, in FIFA that I've played, right, that they have dropped UEFA marquee matchups on a Monday. And in the whole of FIFA 23, right, we only got 2 UEFA marquee matchups, right. The first one was actually in the 3rd week of the game, so I was actually quite surprised to see this. So, you know, this actually had quite a big impact on the market itself, right. It caused the market to stagnate quite a bit. If we hadn't gotten this, right, I was sure that the market was actually gonna fly on Monday, but it didn't because of this. So like I mentioned, right, the market was actually, right, pretty stagnant due to this, you know, UEFA marquee matchups suddenly being released. If we take a look at somebody like Varane, right, he was actually at 80k, right, went up to 86k, dropped to 83k at content drop on Monday, and basically, right, he has been hovering, right, at between 83k, right, to about 87, 88k. So, you know, 5,000 coins, right, is hardly a rise. And as you guys can see, right, for the whole of today, right, the market is basically flatlining, right. There isn't even, right, any fluctuation. So if there's no fluctuation, right, it's actually, right, super duper hard to make coins. So that was one of the reasons, right, why the market stagnated, because of the UEFA marquee matchups. Let's move on, right, and talk about the RTTK cards. So right now, right, we have Lima, Andre Silva, Damian, and Luka Modric, right, as the 4 cards, right, that are actually confirmed to get upgrades. The upgrades, right, will be coming this Friday. Probably, right, likely before content drop. Then the next question that you guys will ask me, right, Max, doesn't it make sense that if the cards gets upgrade, right, they will actually get more expensive, correct? That's like the logical kind of thinking. Now, I'll address that in a bit. I want to talk about the price movement of your RTTKs. Now, the surprising thing with your RTTKs, right, is the fact that they actually, right, really didn't drop that much compared to previous FIFAs. So if we take a look at somebody like Lima, right, he was actually at about 243k pre-game, right, and he actually went up a little bit, like 2k, dropped down to 240 after the game, went back up to 250 before settling at about 240k itself. You guys know, right, I would say, right, in previous FIFAs, right, he probably would have dropped like 50k, right, because Bayern played Gala yesterday and they are actually the favorites, right. This is how the market works in terms of RTTK cards with favorites. So one thing still stands true, right, is the fact that his peak price, right, was actually at 260k, right, on a Monday, right, before the game itself. So that is always, right, the reason why I tell you guys, right, to sell the cards, right, possibly, right, definitely before the game starts, right, you possibly want to sell the cards maybe 1 day earlier before the match actually kick off, right. That will be the price where you can actually get the highest at. And if we take a look at somebody like Modric, right, he also had this kind of same price movement, was actually at about 350k pre-content, right. When the game started, he went down a little bit, 245, and actually after the game, right, he went back up to about 363,000 coins, right. Has been fluctuating between 355 to 370k coins. So what is the reason, right, as to why, right, they didn't drop as much compared to the previous time? So one possibility, right, is because of the fact that we are still very, very early in the game, right? Modric, right, being at the 91 overall rated card, and if you take a look at his stats, right, it's actually pretty good because, quite frankly, we don't really have that many special cards in the game right now. He's actually, right, pretty good value at about 370k. So that is the reason why I think, right, he actually didn't drop, right, despite Madrid, right, being favorites and them winning the game, right? So if for some reason you still have him, right, I'll just cash out at 375k, just take the money and put your coins elsewhere. I want to next talk about the evolutions, right, that I think, right, we will be seeing, right, later on, right, at content drop. So if we take a look at the evolutions that we currently have, right, your pacey wingers and your bruiser wingback, right, will be expiring today later on at content drop. Now, the leaks that we have right now, right, for the next evolution, right, is that it will be a center back and the defending, right, will be max 76. So based on this, right, these are the players, right, that actually pop up. So the likes of, these are kind of the same players that we have gotten previously, right, for the left back evolution, if you guys remember, called the slide tackler, right? Cucurella, Alexandro, those were the players that we traded with, right? The new ones, right, would be somebody like Eric Dyer. So you can actually potentially, right, look to pick Eric Dyer up at about 500 coins is actually a really, really safe price to pick him up at. The question will be, right, because we don't know the physicality, we don't know the pace requirements for your center halves, really, right, we're just guessing. So what I'll be doing is I will be live at content drop later on to shout out the cards to buy. So if you guys are available, you guys can join us on Twitch, right? Link will be down below. If you guys are not free, you guys want to pre-invest, I actually have a couple of cards, right, that we can look at. Let's move over here, right, to the market itself, right, and take a look at some of the possible investments that we can get, right? All these cards that I'm actually talking about, right, is actually, they have max, right, 76 defending, right? So somebody like Keywall, he's actually going out for a little bit right now. Maybe people are starting to invest, right? He's actually 1.5k. Is one that you can actually get. And then we have Star as well, right, from Chelsea, another center back. I can find him. So he should be, he's at about, I would say, right, you can get him at around 1.3k coins. So those are the players that you should be watching out for, 1.1k. And then we also have Callum Chambers as well from Aston Villa, because we have a couple of Villa cards. He's actually cheaper. Last I searched, right, he was actually at about 600 coins. Alright, he has already went up. People are starting to invest. So as you guys can see, right, based on what happened the previously, right, the likes of your Rico Lewis, right, basically went extinct at 10k, right, when we have actually gotten this evolution. So possibly we could get this as well, right, for Chambers. And then we have, other cards that also fit this criteria, right, are the likes of your Paul Dummett. But Dummett, right, is actually already quite expensive at about 1.8, I would say, 1.8, 1.9k. So those are the cards that you can look at. Also do have Craft, right, Craft. So these are just, right, you're taking a risk, right, for sure, because we don't know for sure, right, what are the pace requirements. We only know that the defending is max 76. Take a look at all those cards, right, that I've spoken about. Right, I'll be live on Twitch to call out the cards to buy. Make sure, if you guys are free, you guys can actually join. Now, moving on, right, I want to talk about the Trickster Plus glitch thing, right? EA has confirmed, right, they will not be banning people, right, who use the Trickster Plus glitch. Surprise, surprise, they probably have too much on their plate. And this is from Footways, right? We have some speculation that because it's the El Clasico this weekend, right, we might be getting the Showdown SBC. I think that it's actually a little bit too early in the game to be getting Showdown SBCs. I think that we usually get them, 2 months into the game. We are barely like a month into the game, so don't expect to see this Showdown SBC. Next thing I want to talk about, right, is the confirmed team of the weeks, right? So the notable ones are Griezmann, Goretzka, Frimpong, Politano. I think all these cards, right, would be more heavily demanded and used, as well as Openda. So it actually looks like a half decent team of the week. I did, pick up Griezmann because I needed him for my team, and he's actually staying in my team. So for these cards, right, I possibly, your base gold versions, right, I possibly would hold. I think somebody like Griezmann, right, has really, really high demand. Frimpong and Goretzka, right, less so. So that is something that we can look forward to later on. Now, next thing I actually want to talk about, right, is the fact that the market is, pretty stagnant right now. And what should we be doing, right, with, our investments? I already mentioned to the people in my Discord, right, we should be getting out of these cards already, right? I don't want to hold these cards, right, into content drop. And given the fact that we already have a sure way to make coins, right, with your 85s, right, and your 84s, right, I will be putting my coins there. So I think one of the reasons that the cards, right, are not moving that much in regards to your Trailblazers Team 1, right, I think it's because people's coins, right, are possibly mostly tied up in your RTTKs. The fact that your RTTKs, right, did not move that much, right, tells me that people are actually holding on to the road to the knockout cards, right, traditionally, as compared to them selling. So they could possibly be holding and hoping that these cards will rise when they actually get upgrades, right? So your Mitoma, right, he went up to as high as 190k, but I was hoping, for him to hit 200k. So for me, what I'll be doing, right, is I will be trying to sell him off at between 175 to 180k. I'll be listing him up, right? And then I'll be basically putting my coins into 85s, right? So you guys could do the same for the likes of your Dante. People with Ruben Diaz, you would have, and Di Lorenzo, right, you would have already made coins. So that is what I will be doing. Now, we also have more SBCs, right, that will be coming, right? Juan Foyt coming as a right back. I used his objective version, right, during 23, and he's really, really good. So I'll be looking forward to this because I'm actually looking for center halves in my team. We will be getting the Stoichkov SBC, right, later on at content drop, most likely. Because EA has actually leaked this themselves, right? They have actually leaked the whole schedule. How much will he cost? So he was going for as high as 968k, right, as recently as Monday. My guess is he's probably going to come in at around 950k because he's a really, really, meta striker, 4-star, 3-star. No way, right, I see him, right, being cheaper than 900k. So that's something that we can look forward to. We also have the Player of the Month for October, right? Surprise, surprise, right? Jude Bellingham is here again. And then we have Joao Felix, Griezmann, and Isco. Possibly people will try to vote for Joao Felix, maybe, because he's the only one out here, out of this three, right, that doesn't have a special card. So that's something that we can look forward to. Now, let's move back here and talk about marquee matchups. I think this week, right, the marquee matchups are pretty straightforward. We're just going to be going for your United and City players, right? Try to pick them up at, 350 coins. I think the gold rares, right? The gold rares are also fine for your Manchester City, right? The likes of your Ake, all those are actually good pickups, right? Mateus Nunes. Just make sure, right, to pick them up as close to discard price as possible. And like I mentioned, right, you guys can also go for your female players, which I think, right, tend to do better, right, than your male players, right, for your marquee matchups. Now, we also have gotten, right, a free draft token by EA. I know it's pretty random, but that's something that I just want to put it out there. I think they're actually trying to encourage more people, right, to play drafts. So, yeah, man, I think that's all from me, right? If you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more content on the channel, hit that sub button. Thank you guys so much for the support. And of course, if you guys want access, right, to the VIP trading Discord, all the how-tos, right, will be down in the description below. And I'll see you guys soon. Alright? Take care, guys.